Hey, God bless you. Listen, thank you for joining us today for the Truth Encounter broadcast. Listen, there's a powerful word from the Lord today. I believe it's going to tremendously bless your life. I can't wait to hear the testimonies of what God is doing for you. Listen, follow us on Facebook. Go and tell us there. Send us a message. Let us know how these messages and these teachings are empowering and impacting your life for the glory of God. All right? I look forward to hearing from you. Come on, let's go into the word today.
The natural realm, and he is the God of the spiritual realm. And here's what we understand, that no matter what spiritual power or forces we have, we cannot compete with your God. No matter what weapons we have on the ground to fight with, we cannot compete with your God. Okay, let me turn this thing. Here's what I need you to understand today, because most of y'all may have missed it, but I'm preaching prophetically to a few people in this room today, that no matter what the enemy throws at you, whether it's spiritual or natural, you're going to get the victory. No matter what the enemy tries to hit you with, if you will obey God, you will always come out on top, because God is not just a God in some invisible spiritual world that you cannot see. Neither is he just a God that works through the arm of men, but he's a God that controls the heavens and the earth. And wherever you need victory, he will make sure victory is yours. God, what are you saying, Pastor? Here's what I'm saying. Let me make it real plain. No devil in hell is going to stop what God's about to do in your life. And no hater on earth is going to stop what God has planned for your life. If you will believe in the God that you serve, you will see great victory take shape in your life. That's why I told Joshua, get up. It's time to dry your eyes. Some of you have been nursing your problems, your pains, and your past long enough. It's time to stop crying and realize that God has already promised you victory in your life. He says, Joshua, we're going to Jericho. He says, this is what I want you to do. Go to Jericho. It's a walled city. When they heard about the men, here's what they did. They said, close the city up. Don't let anybody in and don't let anybody come out. We're not moving. We're not making any openings. We're not making any access points for any of those Israelites or their God to get in here. And I tell you something, hell and every devil in hell has tried to block you out of the blessing of God. God, I feel this now. Somebody better catch it. He's tried to keep you from getting all that God has for you. He's tried to do his very best to stop you and to stop your progress, to stop your advancement, and to stop the plan of God in your life. But the enemy doesn't realize that with all that you're doing, with the work of your hands and all that you tried to make happen and make come to pass, the enemy just don't realize, he cannot see that you have a God that's bigger than all of that. And so it's not about what you're doing. See, many of you are going to find out that it's not your work and your abilities to make things happen that's going to bring you victory this time. It's not about any of that. You've prayed, you cried, and what you got to realize that now is going to be your God. Yeah, he's going to show you. How you know, Pastor? Because the Bible said the eyes of the Lord go to and fro throughout the earth, looking for somebody to show himself strong in, whose heart is perfect towards him. He said, I'm just looking for somebody that loves me more than anything else, somebody that's willing to obey me over everything else. And if I can find somebody that loves me and somebody that's willing to obey me, he said, I'm going to show myself strong and mighty in their life. Can I tell you something today? God's been looking for you. God has his eye on you. If you just stay positioned in a place of saying, God, I trust you. God, I'm leaning and depending on you. You're going to see God work wonders in your life. How do you know, Pastor? Because Isaiah 1, I believe it's 1 and 19, he says, if you be willing and obedient. Everybody say willing and obedient. He said, you'll eat the good of the land if you will yourself to obey God. I know you don't feel like it some days, but if you say, I will obey God regardless of how I feel. I will obey God regardless of what's going on. I will obey God regardless of who's talking about me, because it's not a matter of your feeling, it's a matter of your will. He said, if you be willing and obedient. then you will eat the good of the land. He said, I won't hold back anything on you. If you're willing to love me, if you're willing to obey me, I'll give you everything your heart desires. Here's what he says now, Joshua, this is what we're going to do. The walls are held tight. They're trying to keep you out. They don't want you all to overcome and overtake this, but they don't realize I've already given it to you. Now watch this. God makes him a promise right here. He says, and the Lord said to Joshua, verse 2, See, I have given Jericho, its king and mighty men of valor, into your hands. Come on, Pastor, wrap this up. Here's what happened right here. Do y'all see that word? Here, and the Lord said to Joshua, see. Now, here's my problem with the text. I'm like, God, you saying see, as in look. What is he looking at? Because as far as we know, they don't have Jericho yet. They haven't taken Jericho at this point yet. They're still believing for something they have not seen yet in the natural. But can I tell you something? If you're going to get what God has for you, you can't wait till you got it in your hands before you start to see it. You got to open up your spiritual eyes. God said, Joshua, see, I've given you. In other words, stop looking at the walls that are high and great. Stop looking at the king in the city. He said, but I need you to go into your sanctified imagination. That's why I gave it to you. He said, now I want you to see yourself going in, overtaking the city. I want you to see yourself taking the king. I want you to see yourself taking the spoils of the city. Can I tell you something? I want you to see yourself going back to school and getting that degree. I want you to see yourself walking into your new office on your new job. I want you to see yourself closing on your new house. I want you to see yourself riding in your new vehicle. I want you to see it before you get it. This is one of the principles of God and principle of faith. Before you can have it, you got to see it. You got to believe it's already yours. You can't be looking at circumstances and situations and what people are saying about you and what people think about you and what they think you can do and what somebody said you can't do. No, when all of y'all get through, I see what God is about to do. I see what God has promised me. I can see. I don't have it yet, but I see it. I don't even know how I'm going to get it, but I see it. Joshua didn't even know how they were going to overcome Jericho, but I believe he stood there with God and said, God, I see it, God. I see us going in, taking the whole city. What is it you need to see in your life? Okay, let me pause right there because y'all still looking at me. I need you to see right now what God has promised you in your life. I need you to see what God is about to do. Close your eyes. Quit looking at me and looking at everybody else. Close your eyes and let your sanctified imagination see what God has for you. If you got a business, see people running through the door. If you're looking for promotion, see them calling out your name, saying, listen, we're going to give it to them. You may not be qualified. Don't worry about the qualification. Your God is qualification enough for you to get everything that he promised for your life. Joshua, see it because you're going to get it. And I don't need you going in with a lack of confidence. I don't need you going in wondering how it's going to happen. I need you to go in knowing it's already yours. No matter what weapons they pull out, you're going to win. No matter what archers they got on the wall, you're going to win. No matter what they try to use against you, you're going to win. Can I tell somebody something today? When you walk out of here today, I want you to have a winner's mentality. And no matter what life throws at you, what life tries to hit you with, what devils come after you, you have been guaranteed the victory. He said, listen, I've given you Jericho, its king and mighty men of valor into your hands. Is already yours. You shall march around. Now look at what he says. He says, I've given you Jericho. Don't worry about how. I've given it to you. Then he gives him instructions. Whatever God gives you to do, if you will obey God, you will see victory in your life. He said, watch this right here. You shall march around the enclosure, all the men of war, going around the city once. This you shall do for 6 days. Now that don't sound like warfare, do it? Because what God is about to do is going to be unusual. I told you, the instructions he gives you next may not make sense. Just obey. He says, walk around the wall once, do it for 6 days, and 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And on the 7th day you shall march around the enclosure 7 times, and the priests shall blow trumpets. When they make a loud blast with the ram's horn and you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the enclosure shall fall down in its place. Look at what he said. I'm going to show you what to expect. If you will do what I tell you to do and do it the way I tell you to do it, the walls are going to fall down and the people shall go up over it, every man straight before him. Watch this now. So God talks to Joshua. Joshua, I've given you Jericho. Here are your instructions. Here are your marching orders. All you have to do is obey. What does Joshua do? Joshua tells the people, because they were involved. Let me help you right here. Everything will not just be on your shoulders. Some things you're going to have to get everybody in line. Sometimes you got to go home and say, okay, y'all, this is what God has given us. My wife, my children, everybody going to do this because this is what God has given us to do. When we want to fast before, I go into my home and I tell my wife and my children, we fasting for 3 days. There's no TV. There are no video games. I told my son when he was younger, I began teaching him how to fast. I said, when you go to school, don't eat lunch. Somebody said I was crazy. He told his teacher, man, we fasting. I can't eat lunch. His teacher told him that was crazy. See, that's why you can't listen to the world. I told my son, I said, your teacher is not your parent. Your teacher is not concerned about your soul. Your teacher does not know the purpose of your life. It may be a wonderful teacher, but right now we rolling with God. So my son was like, I can't eat. No, don't eat. I said, you'll live. You'll survive. He said, no, they said, I'll die if I don't eat. I said, I promise you, you won't die. You're not going to die. You'll be all right. See, some of you got to know how to pass the instructions on. I learned how to fast because my daddy would walk in the house and say, we fasting. And nobody would eat in the house. So my children understand when it's time to fast, we're not eating and we're not watching TV and playing video games. Get the Bible and read it. Spend time in prayer before God because God is up to something. And we got to consecrate ourselves for what he has in store for our life. When you got to obey God and others are with you, you got to be like, hey, stop playing. God's about to do something for us. And he may not have told you, but he told me. And I'm telling you, so don't you make us miss what God has in store for us. Sometimes you got to, if you're a supervisor on your job, tell your employees, this is what we're going to do. But that don't, they be like, well, that don't even make sense. I know it don't, but it's what we doing. Just fall in line with it. We're going to do it and watch what God is going to do. Watch how God works this thing out. Watch how God shows up for us. Here's what he said right here. He said, listen, go. This is what I want all y'all to do. I'm not going to tell you, but he said, verse 6, so Joshua, son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, take up the ark of the covenant and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets and ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. He goes on. He tells the people what the instructions are. Here's what happened. They obey the instructions of the Lord. Day 1, they walk around the walls. Nothing happens. He said, listen, while you walking around this wall, don't anybody say a word. Bible said, don't let one word come out of your mouth. Everybody be quiet. City was closed up tight. Nobody went in. Nobody went out. But the children of Israel were out there walking around the wall. Day 1, they walked. They went back to their camp. Day 2, the Bible says at daybreak, they got up, obeying God, walked around the wall. Still, nothing happened. Day 3, walking around the wall. Still, nothing happened. Let me help you right here. What you'll find when you obey God is oftentimes it looks like nothing's happening. Looks like God's not doing anything. And you're like, God, where are you? Let me show you something. God is he's just testing your obedience. You want to see something happen, and God's like, no, I want to see your heart. You trying to say, God, I want to see things happening. Shake it loose. God, send a legion of angels down to take over the city while we walk. You know, we want great and wonderful things, and God's like, no, just walk. That's all I want you to do. Just walk. Just keep on walking. They did it. Day 4, they walked around the wall. Shh, don't nobody say a word, because somebody may try to talk us out of walking. Shh, don't say anything.
Hey, listen, friends, listen, I'm not done yet, but I just wanted to jump in real quickly and invite you to any one of our services at the Truth Church. We meet on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. where the power of God fills the house there and does an amazing work at the Truth Church. Listen, we're located at 2019 Ball Road, right here in the beautiful city of Memphis, Tennessee, and I would love to see you there. I promise you, your life will never be the same, all right? Or you can join us on Wednesday night for our Kingdom Training and Empowerment Night. Every Wednesday night at 7 p.m., God is doing an amazing work as we teach on the kingdom principles of God that will really transform your life, all right? Look, I look forward to seeing you at the Truth Church real soon. Come on, let's go back into today's message.
Kept on walking. Day 5, kept on walking. Day 6, they walked around the wall, still nothing. We've been walking for almost a week. Still, God ain't done anything. Why don't we just go do something else? See, it's a matter of your heart. Many times when you obey God, you may feel like, why don't I just go do something else? Because God isn't showing up. He just got us out here looking crazy. Let me tell you something. You got to be willing to look crazy for God if you're going to see God do crazy stuff for you. You can't be worried about what people think about you and what they're going to say about you. That's why there come in times that you see me and my wife, we raise our hands and we get to jumping around praising God, looking all kinds of foolish. You know what? I don't care, because I done seen God do some crazy, radical, amazing stuff for me. God has shown up for me in ways I can't even explain how he did it, but he did it. So listen, if God want me to be a fool for him, so be it. Oh, come on now. You got to know it's okay to be a fool for God. You've been a fool for somebody you was dating one time. You was a fool for somebody you thought you was in love with, made a big old fool out of you. And you kept on, but I love him. He's making a fool out of you, but I just can't help it. I just want to be. Okay, well, why don't you be with God like that? When you feel like God making a fool out of you, like, you know what, God, it's okay. Make the biggest fool out of me that you want to make, because in the end, we going to get the last laugh. In the end, God, everybody's going to see your glory at work in my life. 6 days they walked around the wall looking foolish. But on the 7th day, he said, don't just walk. He said, on the 7th day, I want you to walk around the wall 7 times. Now, you know that ain't make sense. We already tired from walking around 6 days, and now you're gonna multiply it, walk around 7 times. Yeah, because in the end, sometimes it seems like the test at the end of a thing is harder than when it started. Anybody ever been there where it seemed like you got to the end of a thing, and that thing just got worse and worse? Like, God, am I ever gonna get out of this? They walked around the wall 7 times, and when they walked around that 7th time, Joshua said, okay, we did our 7th walk. Here's what God said. God said, now you with the trumpets, blow your trumpet. He said, you that got a voice, lift up your voice and shout unto God. Notice you now, they didn't launch any bombs, any grenades. They didn't try to tear the wall down. All they did was obey God. Play your trumpet, shout with your voice. Play your trumpet, shout with your voice. And when the trumpet began to play and the people began to shout, the Bible said the walls came tumbling down. The walls began to fall down flat. What are you saying, Pastor? What does that have to do with my life? What I'm telling you now is that when you obey God, all you got to do is obey him, and the supernatural power of God is about to give you access to stuff that the enemy tried to keep you out of. The supernatural power of God is about to open up the next course, the next path, and the next plan for your life. What the enemy has been trying to stop your breakthrough, oh, there it is right there. God is about to bring about a major breakthrough in your life. So the priest began to play the trumpet, and the people shouted, and God stepped out of heaven. God, this is in my sanctified imagination. God stepped out of heaven and put his foot on the wall. Knocked the wall down, put his foot on the other wall, knocked the other wall down. He said, okay, Joshua, remember what I told you? I've already given you the city. Look at what he said in verse 20. So the people shouted, and the trumpets were blown. When the people heard the sound of the trumpet, they raised a great shout, and Jericho's wall fell down in its place, so that the Israelites went up into the city, every man straight before him. And this is what I like right here, because this is a word for somebody. And they took the city. Can I tell you, if you believe, if there are 5 people in here that believe this thing, you getting ready to take what God has for you. The enemy don't want you to get it, but God's about to move in a great and awesome way, and you're about to take your next level in God. You're about to take your next place in God. I know it's been hard, and it seems like God has had you in a rough place, but you're about to take some stuff. The Bible declares the kingdom suffers violence, but the violent take it by force. You about to take everything God has for you. I'm taking my joy back. I'm taking my peace back. I'm taking my family back. I'm taking my money back. I'm taking my hope back. Everything God has for my life, I'm taking it back today. It belongs to me. Some of you got to get up out of your place of despair. Get up out of your place of defeat. Because before the trumpet ever blew, before the shout ever went out, before a wall ever fell down, God declared it's yours. Can I prophesy to somebody? What you trying to get, God already got it for you. Your name on the front of it. And can't nobody else have it. What God has for you, it is for you. And if you will obey God at every turn, if you will obey God at every place, you'll see God work wonders in your life. This is your season. This is your day. This is your hour. Doesn't matter who don't like it. Doesn't matter who talks about you. You may seem small in the eyes of men, but the God you serve is bigger than them all. My grandmother would say, little is much when God is in it. You may not seem like or think you got enough to do it, but God is greater than them all. They couldn't get through the walls of Jericho. They couldn't overcome in their own strength. But God said, because I'm with you, you're going to do what people said you couldn't do. You're going to overcome what they said you could never overcome. The walls were high. The walls were wide. But God is greater. Greater than the wall. Greater than any demon. Any hell that wants to stop you. You got victory over every devil in hell. Hallelujah. If God be for you, he's more than the world against you. Hallelujah! 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 Speak into your neighbor's life, and I'm closing. Tell them, neighbor. Come on, say it like you mean it. Say, neighbor, I don't know if you know it or not, but you are more than a conqueror. Come on, look at somebody else, tell them, neighbor, I don't know if you understand who you are, but you are more than a conqueror. You've been appointed to take over. You've been ordained to be a winner. Not just for you, but you're more than a conqueror. You don't just win your battles, but you're going to win battles for somebody else. They can't fight for themselves. Rahab got the victory because somebody else fought the battle. A God she didn't even know delivered her and her family. Hallelujah! You got to deliver somebody that don't even know they need to be delivered because of what's on your life. Hallelujah! Everybody stand on your feet. Stand on your feet today. Glory to God. Glory to God. If you will be willing and obedient, that's all it takes. If you're willing to obey God in every area of your life, you don't have to be sad anymore. You don't have to be frustrated and upset anymore. Just obey God. God, where's all the stuff you promised me? It's in your obedience. Where's all my blessings? It's in your obedience. And when you obey God and you don't look to the left or the right, you just trust him, you're going to see God do wonderful things. Wonderful things in your life. All you have to do is trust him. All you have to do is obey him. All you have to do is walk whatever path he's given you, and you will see him do it. All the things that you try to do on your own that haven't worked out, I promise you, if you go back and check, what did God want me doing? Is this what God wanted me doing? stuff that you're trying to, you want to see God perform and you don't see it, check your obedience. Have I obeyed everything he told me to do? I started out this series dealing with King Saul. King Saul went in to kill the Amalekites. But instead of killing the king, God said kill everybody. But instead of killing the king, he captured the king, brought him back to the camp. They looked at all the animals that looked good to them and they brought them back too, talking about we're going to make a sacrifice to God, when God said kill everything. God was talking to Samuel the prophet. He said, Saul has not obeyed my command. Saul was like, I did what the Lord said do. I went in, I killed everybody. Prophet Samuel said, what's this bleating of sheep I hear in my ear? God said, kill everything, but you kept the sheep. Kill everything, but you kept the king. Let me tell you something. Partial obedience to God is disobedience. If God gave you 10 things to do and you did 9, in God's eyes you disobeyed. Well, God, don't I get credit for the 9? No, because I gave you 10. Well, God, I tried all I could. Well, listen to this. God will never ask you or require anything of you that you're not capable of accomplishing with his help. If God asks you to do something that's bigger than you, then guess what? He's going to be there with you. God has asked me to do some things in my life that I didn't think I could handle. And that's when I started to learn faith. I said, God, I'm going to do this, but if you're not with me, it ain't going to work. When you obey God, when things are too big for you to handle, it's okay. God got it. If he don't show up himself supernaturally like he did for the children of Israel at the wall of Jericho, God will send somebody into your life to help you at every turn. You think the people that showed up in your life just showed up, they was right on time by accident. No, God put them there.
Hey friends, listen, we're out of time today, but listen, I know you've been tremendously blessed by the word of the Lord on today. I believe something was said in this message that has really encouraged you and really impacted your life for the better. God has great things in store for you, great things that he wants to do and perform in your life. And I believe this is your day, this is your time, and this is the hour that God is really going to prove himself to you. Listen, before we go, I want to invite you to come fellowship with us right here at the Truth Church. We're located at 2019 Ball Road, right here in the beautiful city of Memphis, Tennessee. Listen, come from near, come from far, wherever you are, we would love to have you worship with us. I believe your life will never be the same. We pray that if you walk through the doors one time, that your life will experience a transformation and a shift, that you'll never be the same ever again in your life. So look, I want to see you at the Truth Church this Sunday. Meet us this Sunday, 10:30 a.m., and watch what God will do in your life. All right? Listen, I thank God for you. We'll be praying for you. I can't wait to see you again on the Truth Encounter. Be blessed.